Guys, this is Greg with your beach report for Tuesday morning, June 29th. You guys remember the pictures from last night. They've been out here working last night with heavy equipment. The oil's still here, right? But they're covering it up. Anybody that comes out here on the beach needs to know this. They're just creating a toxic dump out here on Pensacola Beach. All they're doing is covering the oil up with sand. They're using heavy equipment. You can see it in the distance. Okay guys, I'm going to show you what I recorded earlier today with the BBC reporter I'm recording here this afternoon. You know, they reopened the beaches, and if you take a look, you know, you're looking around here and it looks like the sand might be all okay and everything, but I'm going to show you something. Now look at that. All I did was just drag my toe down through the sand, 2 or 3 inches below the sand, and it's a solid line of oil. And that's because all this oil is still here. It's covered up with sand, make it look all pretty, but it's still there. This is sand. This is oil under the sand. Any questions?
Okay, here's our beautiful beach, and this is what we have. We have got oil, lots of oil. There's no swimming in that. That is disgusting. This is absolutely makes me want to just throw up and cry. I have not been home in a couple days, and this is what I come back to. This is what's coming up on our beach. The beaches have double flags. There is no swimming allowed at all on Pensacola Beach. Not anywhere. BP, this is disgusting. And the fact that you allow it to get this far is just absolutely, it's just unbelievable. This is my home. I live here. I live right over there on the other side of that building. The wildlife that's going to die out here is just, it's just sickening. It's just sickening. That is just sickening. And there's not one person here cleaning this up.
I'm the only person here in the water line. As you see the water bubbling, it's probably the reason. I've never seen anything like this in the Gulf. Look how the water's bubbling. There's definitely something in it that's causing it to do this. Let's walk up and look at our beach. It's unbelievable to think that these used to be called the world's whitest beaches, and look at them now. And God only knows what that is in the water that's making it bubble like it's got acid in it.
This is Shannon Miller, Florida Program Coordinator for the Defenders of Wildlife. I'm here at the J.N. Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge on Sanibel Island, off the west coast of Florida in the Gulf of Mexico. I came here today to talk to the refuge managers to find out what they are doing to prepare for the Gulf oil spill should it hit this coast. This refuge was created to protect the wildlife and habitat of Sanibel Island, to protect the endangered and threatened species that you find here, and also to protect the nesting, feeding, and roosting grounds of the migratory birds here. The refuge managers of J.N. Ding Darling are currently reviewing their oil spill area contingency plans with the United States Coast Guard, and are also doing baseline studies by taking water and soil samples. Right now, the snowy plover is nesting on this beach, and sea turtles are coming up on this beach to lay their eggs. At any time of year, you can find several endangered or threatened species on this island, including the loggerhead sea turtle, the Florida manatee, the American alligator, the wood stork, and the gopher tortoise. Should oil hit this coast, it will jeopardize one of the most pristine and unspoiled habitats that we have left.
For the manatees here in Florida, many of them die because of prolonged exposure to the cold, and now there are growing concerns that if the oil comes in here, it could push this endangered species even closer to the brink of extinction.
Okay, right over here, like it
Used to be the manatee's biggest threat was getting hit by boats. Getting hit by an oil spill is unheard of and alarming.
We don't know how detrimental it will be if they inhale it, if they ingest it, if they're foraging in areas where seagrass has been oiled. We have no idea how that's going to impact them.
And no one's taking any chances. As the massive BP spill moves east, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in Florida has drawn up a plan to move and rescue oiled manatees. Aerial spotters will give them 72 hours notice before the oil reaches a prime manatee habitat. Realistically, how many manatee can you save in 72 hours? How many of them can you move?
I don't know the answer to that question, but we're going to move as many as we possibly can.
So many unknowns on top of an already uncertain future. 10% of the known manatee population was just wiped out in Florida, many by the unusually frigid winter. In the waters of Florida's Crystal River, we went looking for survivors, manatees still recovering from the stress of the cold.
We add to this any levels of mortality from oil, we're looking at things that will take many, many, many years of recovery.
It's not hard to spot a manatee here in the warm, shallow waters. But sometimes, weighing over a half ton, they are hard to rescue. So the threat of an oil spill raises unsettling questions. Rescuing manatees in large numbers has never been done before. On this trip, we're looking for one of the lucky ones.
It's right over here. That little thing sticking up out of the water there, that's actually the antenna for the radio device that's attached to the manatee. Right over there.
Coral, the same manatee I saw in February, in rehab after a wintertime rescue. Now released into the wild and slowly recovering.
How does she seem to be doing?
She is in a nice, quiet cove, perfect spot to be resting.
Protected.
Nice and protected.
For now.
Yes, for now.
And it's protection that could easily disappear with a change of wind and current, pushing a new threat and all its unknowns closer to a beleaguered, endangered species. There is some good news to report here, and it's that a lot of the adult manatees that survived the winter have now recovered and seem to be doing well. Now, the hope is that the oil just stays out of here so this species can continue to rebound.
And the president maintains he will not speak to BP's chief executive, Tony Hayward. Listen here.
I have not spoken to him directly, and here's the reason. Because my experience is when you talk to a guy like a BP CEO, he's going to say all the right things to me. I'm not interested in words. I'm interested in action.
Well, some critics now demanding to know why Mr. Obama won't have a face-to-face with the likes of BP's Hayward when candidate Obama said that he would meet with some of the world's most notorious dictators from Iran, from North Korea, and so on. Here's a reminder of some of what he said back in 2008.
Now, it is true, though, that I believe that we should have direct talks, not just with our friends, but also with our enemies.
How's the golf game going?
You know, I'm not very good. I have no idea of why the attitudes are so hands-offy here. It's just unbelievable. They could be deploying people to the coast right now. He could be with the Corps engineers and the Coast Guard with these people in Plaquemines Parish doing something about these regulations. These people are crying. They're begging for something down here. And it just looks like he's not involved in this. Man, you got to get down here and take control of this, put somebody in charge of this thing and get this thing moving. We're about to die down here.
I'm just curious why you wouldn't pick up the phone and in some ways just give them a piece of your mind. Pick up the phone, pick up the phone, pick up the phone, pick up the phone.
I hope he sees it now.
You just got through talking about the hurricane, and we're not going to be able to get any new boats in there that we've been begging and pleading for now 73 days. 2 weeks after the storm, several foreign countries, more than a dozen, offered us boats. The Belgians have state-of-the-art, skimmers that are better than the ones we've got. Obama could have suspended the Jones Act so that the individual boats don't have to apply for waivers. He should have just done that. George Bush did it after Katrina. It was largely cosmetic, but this would have been a great thing to do. Now, let's say he does it tomorrow, it's too late to get the boats in time, and then we've got all these hurricanes.
We also have this 1990 Oil Pollution Act, which requires these skimmers to be pre-positioned throughout the country. But I mean, if this is a war being waged right here, you'd think
you drop that too.
Anderson, this is the worst oil crisis in U.S. history. Cut the red tape, redeploy them down here. Let's not worry about what might happen. We have a situation here that we need to deal with. We need to cut the red tape.
When you go out on the water, I mean, do you see skimmers out?
I was out on the water on Monday. I'm glad you asked that question. We saw a swath of oil 2 miles wide, about 10 miles in length. Not one skimmer in sight. Not one.